Hi, and welcome to Concussion Talk Podcast. My name is Nick Mercer. I write Concussion Talk blog, www.concussiontalk.com. I also written an ebook called Detour. It's about my bike trip across Canada in 2002 and my brain injury in 2003. You can find a link to my ebook on the right side of any of my Concussion Talk pages. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Concussion Talk, or find me on Facebook by searching Concussion Talk. This is my 8th podcast, and in it I'll be talking to Sally Francklyn. Sally is a former ski patroller from Colorado. We will talk about skiing, what to watch for, where to go, and her remarkable story about her brain injury and recovery. Okay, I'm on the phone with Sally Francklyn, who will now introduce herself. She is a former ski patroller who had a brain injury, and she will now introduce herself and talk about what she does or what she did as a ski patroller. So, Sally, go ahead.
Hi guys, this is Sally Francklyn. I was a former ski patroller for 10 years at Copper Mountain Ski Resort, which is in Colorado. I started out as a junior ski patroller in high school. They had this program where you could, if you were accepted, you could be a junior ski patroller. So that's what I did for I don't know, a long time. And then I earned my degree in emergency medical technician, so I became an EMT. And then they have this thing called volunteer patrolling. So when I got my EMT, I was in that before my EMT, but when I got my EMT, I don't know, I was able to handle more. So that's how I got my start skiing. Well, I grew up in Colorado, so my parents met skiing, and I learned to ski at a very young age. And I went to Air Academy High School, where I became a junior patroller, and then I went to University of Colorado at Boulder, still in Colorado. And then I worked in Boulder for a few years after that, and then I got a job in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, as a public relations account executive. And I worked there for about a month and a half before I was injured in a ski accident.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I guess we can tell us about it. I wrote a brief description of the ski accident in my preview to this podcast, but maybe you could tell us more about what happened to your ski accident.
Okay, three of my friends and I were skiing the backcountry at Jackson Hole, and you had Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, so you had to ride the tram up, and then we hiked to where we wanted to ski out of bounds, and my friend went first, and he waved at the bottom and said it was good for me to go. So I took a few turns. I have no memory of this happening, so I don't know what happened. Either my ski fell off, or I took a bad turn, or something. But I tumbled down the snow for around 1,000 feet and stopped by bashing my head on some rocks. Luckily, though, I was wearing a helmet, which saved my life. So I will talk about my injuries in that ski accident. I had a skull fracture with a traumatic brain injury. Those are kind of, well, not popular, but you hear about people with TBIs quite frequently. So I also had a cervical fracture of the spinous process. So I broke my back, and I had surgery, and they put rods in it. And I also had a T10 burst fracture. And I broke my ankle, and I broke my rib, one rib. So, yes, I was lucky enough, though, to be with some fabulous friends while we skied. One of my friends had an uncle who was a firefighter, so he called him and on the scene, and he was I think a paramedic firefighter. Anyway, he gave my friend distinct directions on how to care for me on the snow, and keep me safe. And then, two, since we were out of bounds, the ski patrollers that accessed us were obviously on bounds, so they had to hike to where we were skiing and then meet us. And then one of those patrollers actually was a paramedic, so I consider that part of my luck. So they took me down the slope in the toboggan, back in the slope to the bottom where I took a Flight for Life helicopter out of the resort, and then I was transferred to another Flight for Life helicopter to fly me to the hospital that I was in. And my injury was in Wyoming, and this hospital was in Idaho. Wyoming, Jackson Hole, Wyoming is on the far west side, and the hospital I was in was on the far east side of Idaho. So luckily, it was like an hour and a half or something away, but they could provide better care for me than the hospitals in Wyoming could. So I was there for like 2 to 3 weeks, and I was unconscious after my ski accident, and I remained in an induced coma for around 2 weeks or so. And then I was able to have an air ambulance take me home to Colorado Springs. And as a ski patroller, there's a guy that I used to work with who actually is an air ambulance paramedic. So he was the one that contacted my parents and said, look, I do anything to fly Sally home. So I figured out the helicopter to pick me up and fly me home. Not helicopter, airplane to fly me home. And that was another part of my luck, that he was so generous and willing to like support me. And then I don't even know this guy that well, but he was willing to support me because we had knew each other for so long. And so now I'm back home in Colorado Springs, and things are going pretty well for me. After my TBI, I have some balance issues. So I just got home from the gym. My mom and I worked on my balance exercises to hopefully improve my balance. I spent 2 weeks, like 3 weeks ago, in Truckee, Wyoming with the High Fives Foundation, their personal trainer, to help to teach me these balance exercises. So I'm very glad that I'm supported by the High Fives Foundation and that they're able to like give me grants for things like balance therapy with this personal trainer. So now I'm back in the Springs, Colorado Springs, and it's very hard for me when I'm here, because I've spent so many years in Boulder, and there are more like outdoor industry jobs, like companies. So it's been hard for me to find a job that is suitable for my experience and my desires, basically. So I'm working on my balance therapy a lot.
Well, that's actually a good point about the High Fives Foundation. I forgot to bring that up before, but they're a big support to you, and I want just to thank them for supporting this podcast.
Yes.
And actually, you and I have more similarities than I thought. Like the coma was about 2 weeks from me as well. But also, one of the friends I was cycling with was actually a heli skier, whatever guide in Revelstoke, British Columbia. So he knew, like, he knew he had, I don't know if he did MT course or just knew the basic skills you need to know to be a heli ski controller, which is obviously CPR and other EMS stuff, CPR and AR and stuff. So he was there. His name was Alan, and he was there for when I was waiting for the ambulance to get there. So very similar. But
Yes.
we'll go back. Well, let's go back to your You're skiing part or patroller and editor for Ski Magazine. You were
Yes, well,
before.
I was the website editor for
Okay.
Ski Magazine. So, and I was a ski patroller while that happened. So I had immense knowledge in the ski industry.
Yeah.
Industry.
So I guess what what you know from what you've I guess your experience with the brain injury now, and you know about more safety things and just general things people should know. So what should people know before they head out to ski, or just in
um,
general, not even brain injury wise, and just general.
okay. Well, if you're skiing inbounds, I came up with some ideas. So if you're skiing inbounds, you should be aware of the snow conditions, obviously. In spring skiing, it's a lot harder because the top to bottom is very different. Like the bottom will melt because it's warmer. It will be softer snow. So if you're inbounds, you have to watch out for snow conditions. And you also have to watch out for obstacles that are not marked. As a ski patroller, I used to like put a bamboo pole to mark something, but it might not be marked by a patroller already. So you have to watch for obstacles on your run. And what I learned, well, I have experienced backcountry skiing, and I earned my Avalanche One certificate, which which is a good thing because it kind of taught me like a lot about like snow and safety and how to be safe in the snow. So hold on, let me pull up this thing.
Okay.
Okay, okay. What I learned from my Abbey One course was that is important if you ski in the backcountry to wear a beacon. And I always carried a backpack with a shovel and probe. So a shovel, if your friend is buried like in an avalanche just below the snow surface, a shovel can help you. If you get to them pretty fast, it can help you save their life. And a probe is kind of to like reach very far down in the snow. They're like 10 feet long or something, and they're little tubes like as big as your finger. And they like, I wish I had mine so I could show you guys, but they break up and fold. So, in a probe, like if your friend is buried very far beneath the snow, like 7 feet or something below, you can probe and find them
Yeah.
and then maybe dig them out with your shovel. But if you use your probe, it has more time has passed, so it's very difficult to like access your friend being alive.
Yeah.
So a shovel is better to do that. But
Yeah.
if time has passed, a probe is what you need. And as a ski patroller, we often practiced. There was this little like snow hut that they built that you crawl into, and then they would like cover the entrance up with some snow. And they had avalanche dogs where I ski patrol. So when you climbed into the snow hole, the avalanche dogs would try to find you. And there was always a handler with them. So if they found you, they started to dig with their paws, and then that alerted the patroller with them
So
that
what kind of dog is an avalanche dog?
um mostly Labradors or golden retrievers. They like the snow. So it's
Oh, sorry for the interruption there. I was wondering.
sorry.
Sorry for the interruption. I was just wondering. So
It's okay.
go ahead.
So they could the avalanche dogs would find me, and then the person would dig me out if they needed to. But if you're in the backcountry and you don't have an avalanche dog, which is highly unlikely, then a probe really comes into play.
Well, you were mentioning it before when you were talking about your injury, that your helmet was the one thing that really saved you. Well, not the one thing,
Yes.
but one of the things that really saved you. So
Well, it
could you
was one thing.
talk about the what importance of helmets and how you were wearing a helmet when you were injured, so you were wearing a helmet before this all became an issue for you, really.
Yes, I had a helmet many years before my injury. I got one when I was like 16 or something, and so now I'm 28, so I had it for a long time, and it really saved my life because I slid down the snow and I stopped by hitting my head on some rocks. So if I hadn't been wearing my helmet, then I would not be here. So I'm very lucky that I was wearing my helmet. And that's one thing I think everyone should know. Go skiing with a helmet on. It might do you good. When I see people skiing without helmets on, I think, oh, they should really be wearing a helmet. But so that's my perspective, and it really saved my life.
Yeah.
And there are helmets right now coming out with MIPS technology, which a normal helmet has the soft inner shell and then the hard outer shell. And on an old helmet, they're connected. So if you bash your head like I did, they are connected. So your brain feels the external forces. But with MIPS, the internal protection of your helmet, of your skull, is separated from the outer hard shell. So if your head hits something, the hard shell can move, and this little soft inner protection will stay on your head. So that will increase your chances of recovering it when you hit your head in a ski accident if you have a MIPS helmet. But if you ski and bounce, you don't really need a MIPS helmet. You just need a helmet. But if you ski backcountry, you should get a MIPS helmet.
You've mentioned the MIPS helmet on the email you sent me. I was looking it up online, and it stands for multi-directional impact system,
Okay.
which is just a that's just I don't know if it's interesting or not, but it's what it stands for. Yeah, but
Yes.
I also asked you to for a list, but I was very vague. It's a list, just pretty vague, but you got you know what I was talking about for some reason. But so do you remember you sent the list? Your favorite place to ski and basically what you're told that what you should bring. But when you were working for Ski Magazine, you traveled to New Zealand, Chile, BC,
Yes.
and anywhere
Yes.
else or
Um, New
around.
Zealand, Chile, and Canada.
Yeah.
I skied at Whistler Blackcomb and then at in the East Coast somewhere. I forget what it's called. I have to remember.
Okay.
I have to look it up. I should have done that before we talked.
No
But
worries.
in the US, my favorite places to ski are Alta, which is a ski specific resort, so you can't snowboard there. But if you want to snowboard, there's a resort right next to it called Snowbird, which allows skiers and snowboarders. So if you're a snowboarder and you want to get out there, you can go to Snowbird. My other favorite resorts in the U.S. are obviously Copper Mountain in Colorado, which is where I was a junior ski patroller, and I skied there for many years of my life. So, and let me look up what I said or my other.
You just said then you said
Okay,
Western
okay,
Blackcomb, but
yes, yes, that is
if there's any other ones you want to mention, go for it.
okay. No, there's none.
No.
The ice ski that the Remarkables in New Zealand and Treble Cone, I think. I don't remember exactly where I skied,
Yeah.
but I love New Zealand.
Yeah. So you said in Canada you said we like Whistler.
Okay.
Have you been to like my friend who was a heli ski guide. He heli skied in Belsoak, which is
Oh, I've heard of that, but I've never skied there.
it's it's a lot of avalanches there. So
Yes,
that's one
yes,
place you should definitely bring your probe and your dogs and
yes.
your
And
shovel
your friend who's a
and
heli
your beam.
guide there probably has his avalanche 3 or 4.
Yeah,
They increase in numbers, so I have an avalanche one, which is like the basic entry level course. But if you're more experienced and you're more certified, like this guide is, then you can increase your numbers. And so I think, well, I know that you have to start out with the one and you can move up from there if you start really low. So is for your friend that's a heli guide probably has started with the one and he has moved up to a 4, I think.
wow. Yeah, okay. Well, wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't ski at all, so I'm like,
Okay.
I mean, I
Okay.
skied twice in grade seven, so or seventh grade USA. Um,
Okay.
um, and that was like 92, 93,
Oh,
92. So
okay.
it was obviously a long time ago, 23
Mhm.
years ago. But
Mhm.
yeah. So what problems you find now after you? What things you generally have problems? Not generally, but most problems mostly that you find that you're with your bounds, obviously you said. But
Yes.
do you find like, everyday tasks? What do you find is your base?
Um, well, when you have a TBI, sometimes one side of your body is totally weaker than the other. And
Yeah,
with me, it's my right side, this side.
it's my
My
left
left
side.
side
It's
is
my left
strong.
side.
My, you're opposite.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you had to learn to do everything with your you were right-handed, right?
I used to be a right-hander when I was writing, and now I'm a left-hander.
How's
Writing
how's
anything, and I try to use my right hand every now and then, but I sometimes don't remember.
how's your writing now? How's your writing now?
Sorry,
How is your writing now? Your
it's
calligraphy, your
it has improved.
yeah. That's
Luckily, my father is left-handed, so
okay.
I kind of learned some or
Tricks.
have his kind of genes, I
Yeah,
guess, with
my
that.
my my dad was left-handed too, and
Okay.
used to hate scissors. Remember,
Okay,
but
yes. Yes, but I have left-handed scissors now.
why do you have them? They're taken from your dad.
What?
So why do you have them? They're taken from your dad. Oh, you're left-handed now too. No,
Sorry.
no, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I can't really think of anything else you want to say about skiing or skiing and safety or skiing in general. Just general thoughts on skiing. Like anything you want to
Um,
say?
my Well, what I think for the backcountry skiing is to find your local avalanche center. Here it's Colorado Avalanche Information Center, or CAIC. So in Canada, I assume they have one for like province or something. So find that avalanche center. And then if before you go backcountry skiing, you can look there for like info about the terrain and the snow, and it will say caution in this area, or it will not say any of that. So it's best if you look at the Avalanche Information Center website before you make your way out there. Um, and also in the backcountry, I've noticed it's important to stand your ground. Don't succumb to peer pressure at all. Like if something doesn't feel right to you, then don't ski it. You People around you might be, "Oh, come on." But if you feel like that you shouldn't ski it, don't ski it. And your family and friends will be really sad if you do ski it and then you get caught in an avalanche. So
Yeah.
my advice is to stand your ground and don't succumb to peer pressure.
So obviously it's great advice.
Sorry.
I said that's great advice.
Okay, yes.
Um, yeah, I just wanted to ask you because you were mentioning the pay attention to science. I watched that one of those basics videos by High Five
Yes.
Foundation. They
Yes.
showed the one of them. I'm not sure which one it was, but showed the whole science, and I watched a couple of them, and they're really good. I mean, not skeered, but they were well
Mm-hmm.
done. They're not pedantic or anything. They're good. So
Mm-hmm.
um, they were and the other type of signs like they showed the patrollers and ski officials who are out there on their own placing signs, and even the signs are just people like the young children like teenagers or the younger. There's that one group. I guess we don't have them here. Obviously, they're specific to that resort in California, I think, or there's a hill mountain in California that had like a program for young, pretty young people. I say teenagers, but
Yes.
younger teenagers that doing like backcountry skiing and stuff like that. How to
Yes.
what to look for and
Yes.
how to lead their friends and stuff. So
Yes.
that's very valuable. So again,
Yes.
so check out the High Fives Foundation
Yes.
online at. I thought do you want to say what's the web address? Do you have it or do you?
Sorry.
The web address? Do you know where it is or?
Yes. Okay, so they're going through this whole movie program called Basics, and it stands for being aware, safe in critical situations. So, being aware and safe in critical situations. And to access the videos and the info about that, their website is www.basics.highfivesfoundation.org. So you can go there and find out all about the how to be safe in the backcountry and on the ski resorts and how to make safe choices.
Well, thanks.
So
Well,
yes,
well, thanks a lot, Sally, and thanks a lot to High
yes,
Fives. And so, well, again, I will say, please listen again, and
yes.
thank you, Sally, for agreeing to talk to me. Thanks. I would like to thank Sally again for her time. It was a great interview, and I would like to apologize for those few little. I don't know if you noticed them. Those few little audio glitches in the middle of the interview. And thank you very much for listening. And hopefully you will listen again. So until next time. The music at the beginning of this podcast is by Ben Sound. www.bensound.com.